Hi, and welcome to a brand new episode of SipHappens. I am your host, Demar, and it's our first episode of my podcast. And for such an episode, I am going to be having some great friends of mine, very, very special to my heart. It's going to be an exciting show. We have lots and lots and lots for you. We have games, we have a Bayesian word of the day, we have a fun fact, and we are going to be introducing our topic and getting up to the nitty gritty of a lot of things. If this is your first time listening, I want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will post a link to that and follow us on IG as well. And I will also post a link to our social media handles. But again, I just want to welcome you guys to a fun-filled, packed show with my beautiful co-hosts who are all from Barbados, just like me. I'm a Barbadian. I'm a Bajan. So, without a further ado, I am going to introduce my co-host. Definitely, definitely. So, I want you guys to say hello to Paula and Chantel. Hi, Paula and Chantel.
Hi.
So just a little bit about Paula and Chantal for those of you who may not know, which is quite embarrassing. You need to know who these guys are. Paula and Chantal is your favorite best friend duo from the beautiful island of Barbados in the Caribbean. Paula and Chantal met in secondary school and have been inseparable since 2008. Their channel takes you along their island life and many activities they enjoy together. There are two uniquely different spirits that have bonded in a way that cannot be described, but only experienced. So welcome. Hi.
Thanks
for
for
coming.
having us. We're really excited.
You are. I'm even more excited. It was really, really, really cool for you guys to say yes. So you guys met in secondary school. That's nice. I met Chantal at BCC too as well. So we all did meet each other within the educational settings. That's pretty cool. That's really nice. So anything else you would like to tell us, about yourselves? Would you like to say something to the public? Let us hear your voice. What do you think?
We are just really excited. It's our first podcast ever.
Yeah.
So this
Are
is
you serious?
yes. So this is a new experience for us to do together.
This
So
is our debut.
yes, our
So-
debut of the podcaster kit.
I broke your podcast virginity. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Oh, you try cherry. Our podcast cherry.
Sip happens. That's the name of the podcast. So
Yeah,
Sip
happens.
does, yeah, Sip really does happen. So this
It
is really interesting. Oh my God, this is cool. So welcome. So now you guys can officially say I did a podcast.
It's
All
true.
thanks to me.
That off our
So you guys have a YouTube channel. What made you guys really start that YouTube channel?
Is that a good question? Because I was thinking about it earlier this week. Why we
Yeah.
started it, and it just kind of happened. But we're using it, and what I could say is that we're using it now as like a time capsule of our life and our adventures.
Uh,
So it's like memories that we can share with each other, with our family, with like our future families, our friends, like everybody, like just to have like,
pretty much leaving a legacy too as well. Like a footprint in the sand. To say I was really here. Yeah, but I mean, for the general public, these guys inspired me to start my YouTube channel. I was like, so because in Barbados, we don't get a lot of persons creating content, and it's not necessarily something like in the Americas and England and those places, Europe, that people actually sit and actually make a living off of creating content and putting it out there on YouTube. So hats off to you guys for inspiring and taking on that vehicle. Yeah. And now I can return the favor by asking you guys to come on my podcast, and I am so thankful that you guys did. So yeah.
thank you.
Oh, thank you. And you guys are so beautiful, like beautiful spirits, guys. Like they are. Like as I said, Chantal and I met through BCC, and then because I know Chantal, I got the pleasure of meeting Paula, and Paula and I became friends as if we've been friends from secondary school too as well, which is weird. It just speaks to the testament of like friendship, and friendship has no boundaries. Like it's all about connection, and we pretty much hit it off because you got friends, but your friends are not friends with your other friends.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. It's
That
never like
happens.
that. Yeah. So for sure, for sure, for sure. So we have a lot. We have a lot coming up. What do we have next?
So that's the fact of the day.
Yes.
Okay,
So we're
cool.
actually hit you with a little fun fact. So I'm gonna read it out for you guys, and we're trying to read really clearly because I'm gonna like move the flag and try. So
Oh dear.
basically, the fact is that did you guys know that that Golden Girls was supposed to have a different theme song? And I find that
Oh, wow.
so interesting because that theme song is so iconic. So the
It's
idea of it,
legendary.
the idea of it not being that, and Chantal and I are both like lovers of Golden Girls. Chantal actually has a Golden Girls t-shirt and everything.
Are you serious?
Yes,
Yes,
I
she
do.
does. She does.
I was going to wear it, but it's like fluorescent pink.
So yeah,
For like for editing purposes because it's not only an audio podcast, it's a video podcast because you can catch us on YouTube too as well. So it's a lot to consider where we have to think about editing and what we wear with the camera, you know. But that's so interesting. Like as you guys said, like not only is Golden Girls one of the most iconic sitcoms, but that theme song carries like "Thank you for being a friend."
yeah.
Travel down, you guys know it, and back again. The heart is true.
You're a
You're a pal and a
confidant.
confidant. Yeah. I mean, like persons have remixed that and made it a gospel song. It, you know, it,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've seen it.
yeah.
I haven't heard the gospel song thing, but I've seen they do like a tape on Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
I
like-
know what you mean when he goes, oh.
Yeah, that's what
Okay,
you right.
right.
I've
I
seen
got
that
it.
one.
So, like to say that would have been removed, I don't think that I just can't fathom it. That's something you can't
I think there's
contextualize.
certain things that are just like the thing.
And they work
Yeah.
out how they're supposed to.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah,
work
yeah.
out how they're supposed to work out.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why the name of the show is SipHappens because it does really happen. I mean, like, can you imagine Golden Girls not having that same song? Like, oh my God.
I can. It
No.
is definitely one of
It
the
is.
things that is so synonymous with the show.
Yeah. I mean, that carries the show.
It does. It solidifies it as like iconic.
Okay. And as I said, we are Barbadians, and one thing I did linguistics. My BA is in linguistics, so I love to use my linguistical skills. And we have a dialect. We don't have a Creole like say Jamaica or Saint Vincent, but there are certain words that we use here in Barbados that are really intrinsic to Barbados. You can only really hear them by a Barbadian or in Barbados. And I believe that you guys do have a word that you would like to share with us.
Yes, the word of the day is dumpsy or done. So they mean the same thing, but depending, I guess, on the part of Barbados you
Yeah.
live or just
Yeah.
how you've grown up, you would
Yeah.
say dumpsy or you would say duncy, but they mean
So-
the same thing.
Have you ever called someone Dumpsy or Dumpsy?
Of course, it is one of
That's
those
right up
insults.
passage. Yeah.
Insults in school, like
I'm sure that people use it in school all the time.
yeah, like how you call someone
Yeah.
a loser.
Yeah.
Like if that's an American, so you say loser, you say you will dumpsy, but it also
Yeah.
means you're not intelligent. So
Legit.
someone could say it to you if you make a remark that is kind of ignorant or silly. So they would say that, but it is definitely a big insult.
Because I mean, like, if you're having like a not so good moment, like a senior moment, you'd be like, you real Dumpsy, or like, or you
Yeah.
ask a stupid question, people like you like, it's almost like you got any sense. That's our way. That's quick.
Dunce, right? Like being a
Yeah.
dunce, right?
Actually, I'm going to share SipHappens, and I'm going to be using that quite a lot. I actually thought it actually came from our fruit. It's a fruit. Our fruit Dunksy. I was like, what is the correlation to dunks? To dunks at Dunksy? I was like, that was a Dunksy moment for me, guys. That was a Dunksy. SipHappens. Yeah. And no pun intended there, guys. I mean, like, I was like, what? What is the correlation between dunks and dunksy? Because sometimes we in Barbados, and I'm using my linguistical skills here, we base on certain words they get their meaning from certain situations that are happening. Like, say, example, nicknames. If you look at the nicknames here in Barbados, nicknames is very interesting. Like, by fruit, I was in a Zeta van the other day, and I heard the conductor being called Donkey. Like, why would you allow somebody to call you Donkey? Like, a nickname stick with you forever.
I
And there's
think
nothing like a Belgian nickname.
we're very good at turning people's physical characteristics into their nickname.
Yeah.
So you hear
Yeah.
like tall man,
Yeah,
short man.
Yeah.
That becomes your nickname. Or if you happen to have like an embarrassing event,
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
that becomes your nickname.
Yeah, or if you like not me, like people call you like Ducky and all of
Yeah.
those different things.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
And people can use your shortfalls as an insult too as well. Like for me, I always assumed that you were an American, Shanta, because you're so red. We have that thing in Barbados,
Yeah, when you
because of
are
your
there,
complexion.
especially
Yeah.
if you speak standard English as well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my default to speak
Mhm.
standard English, but when I am around persons, I will speak dialect. But if you speak
Mhm.
standard English, people are definitely not going to think that you're a Barbadian. It happened to us the other day. We were ordering food
At Chicken Bar.
at Chicken Barn, and because we spoke
Wow.
the
Yeah.
lady asked us if we were Barbadian, and we were like, yeah. And she's like, oh, y'all don't sound like it. And I was like,
I remember that.
That's interesting. Like, what makes a Barbadian a Barbadian? Because I get that question a lot because I'm told I don't have Barbadian here. And I'm like, what does Barbadian here looks like?
yeah, that's a first.
Yeah, and I'm told that I speak with an accent too as well. I don't
I
hear
can
it.
get that because you are from the north, and the north is definitely different. It's different. It is.
Even like different, like I didn't know, but in the South people call it a centipede, right? Like
Yeah.
But I know that other places in the island
You
is
say
called
Sappy.
A
I
Sambi.
know
A Sappy.
and that first time I hear that is like interacting with people from different
Well, I know people in St. Philip, they don't say pants, they say pants. I was in town and it was like, I heard a woman from St. Philip, she was like, oh, I can buy myself school pants for school tomorrow. I was like, okay, I've never heard pants before. So there's some strange variations.
And
Now, as
it's
we,
so
go ahead.
not Barbados of being so small, but even though we are small in like mass, we still have such a varying in like the way we
Yes.
do things from parish to parish.
Yeah, because even like like the same Belgian word that you guys presented, like there's a variation. There's dumpsy and dunksy,
Yeah.
and certain places would use that. I don't know which one I use. I hardly ever use that word ever, really though. I would have to be really, really annoyed.
I
Really, really annoyed.
Yeah.
You
I
think
would,
so?
if I was gonna think about what word I would use, it would be dumpsy over dumpsy.
Yeah, I think
I
I
wouldn't
would say
use
dumpsy.
I think it would be like a case where if you're really angry, like like sometimes you will dump the door, and then like depending on if the situation has angered you, I think it alters which variation you would use.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe could be a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys can let us know what you guys use. If you use dumpsy with the M or with the N.
Yeah.
You just gotta be very, very careful with phonics and phonology. I hated that part of my linguistical journey. Anyways, so yeah. So I think I want to play a game with you guys. I think I like you guys a lot.
We're ready.
Wait. You guys are ready to be beaten by me? Oh my god, that's such an honor.
Yeah.
We're ready. I'm not.
We can try our hardest. We are very like effort driven people.
There we go. I love that. I love persons who come on the show and have that drive to win, but are confident that they're going to lose and be beaten by me.
Let's see what going on.
Okay, let's see if it does really happen today. So my first question. So what we're going to do, guys, we are actually going to be playing a round of trivia questions. So I'm going to ask Paula and Shanta, who would as a team, as opposed to two separate entities. 5 questions, and they are not going to get any of them right, and I'm going to get all 5 of mine right. So they're going to ask me 5 questions, and I'm going to ask them 5 questions. Yeah. So
It's your first episode,
Yeah.
so
We
we're
will
just
concede. It's
we'll
fine.
take that.
so you're saying I should take it easy because y'all are my first co-host, and this is the first episode? No. No. Not a
That's
shit of it. Not a shit of it.
Okay.
So my first question to the team, Paula, wait, do y'all want team names? Like, should we do team names?
no, that's gonna make it more competitive.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's true. I mean, the fact y'all will be dusted by me. I don't want to add any further insult. So yeah, just let me hurry up and ring. So my first question, guys, is who was the highest paid actress of 2019 according to Forbes?
2019.
What movie story?
Okay, can we get a clue? What's the ethnicity of the person?
That's a very good question because I don't even know. I know they're a human being. I can say that.
They're
That's
from
true.
Earth.
They're human.
They're from Earth.
They're from Earth.
Above water.
Above water.
Scarlett Johansson.
That's correct. I hate this. Damn.
Is it because of Marvel? Is it because of Marvel?
Maybe.
Probably. Oh, yeah, because Marvel they make a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do. That's like one of the things.
Grossing films. Yeah, I would love to work for Marvel. I would love to be an actor on Marvel. Okay.
I would love to be an extra on Black Panther. I would be over there.
Oh my gosh, you know it is. That's right. Come on, speak it. All right. What is the name of Michelle Obama's 2018 memoir?
Becoming. You want
I hate this. Can we end? Can we end the podcast here right now? I don't like this. Oh my god. I thought I had these questions hard, guys. Okay. Next question. Who did Forbes name the youngest self-made billionaire ever in 2019?
Kylie Jenner. No?
Yes.
That's okay. I don't like this.
We are an effective team. I told you we are effort driven.
Okay. All right. How many questions did I ask you? Like, did I? I don't think I don't.
Two more.
I gotta edit this out. Who was the first bachelor in 2003?
I
don't know her name.
absolutely no idea who that is.
I don't know her
Yes.
name.
That is true. The Bachelorette still shows though, guys.
I have no idea. I never
Neither-
see it. Like,
I never really watched it. My mom used to watch it when when I used to live with my mom. Like my mom and her ex used to watch it a lot. I never really I never liked it. I don't think a man dating all. I mean, I had a problem with women having a problem with men dating more than one woman, but here is a show advertising the same thing that women have a disdain for. Couldn't really fathom that.
I'm like reality TV. Like reality TV.
Yeah. That's where the money. That's where the money is basically, sadly, and people sit and watch. Apparently, so the first.
I think human beings like to observe other human beings.
Yeah, it's curiosity.
I definitely do. I like to watch other people.
So that's why it's so popular because we like to watch each other.
Yeah. So that answer is just a stutter. Don't know who she is. They don't really care to know. Okay. So this is my last question, guys. So last question. Okay. So you got 3 out of 5 so far. 3 out of 4. Yeah. What sex symbol was found dead in her LA home in 1962?
Oh my gosh, I have absolutely no idea.
Pamela Anderson?
Can I give it? No. Well, that's she was. Oh yeah, no, is she dead?
It is the other lady. It is she is when she steps over the bread and the
Marilyn Monroe.
Right?
Yeah. Because I was gonna say I think Nicki Minaj and Rihanna has a song with her name in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marilyn Monroe. What's love without tragedy, Marilyn Monroe?
It might be Nicki. I don't know.
Both of them do. What's love without tragedy? It's Rihanna. Marilyn Monroe. What's love without tragedy, Marilyn Monroe? What's love without tragedy? I'm a Rihanna fan. I'm like a Rihanna Navy fan, so I know that.
Yeah,
I know Nicki Minaj has one with her too as well. So guys, so that's the end of my question segment, and unfortunately,
You got three out
three,
of three.
three, yeah, I got 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5, and I'm not happy about that. So I'm gonna have to really up my game here. So
So
let's,
yeah, so we have questions for you now.
Yep.
So
okay.
let's see.
Let me let me take off my shades so that I can see the lines and see y'all when I really y'all.
I feel like maybe the first one you may know,
Okay.
but I really like this question.
It is a good question.
So which actor voiced both Darth Vader and the Lion King's Mufasa? And this is really popular. This is an easy one,
And
especially if you're a 90s baby.
yeah, and the person is really popular too. And I
Is it is it that Morgan Freeman? Damn it.
He's up there with Morgan Freeman. Though.
Yeah.
Like he's one of those. He is one of those. I can let you get another guess. You won't get it right, but I can.
Whose show is this? This is my show. I got it right.
All right, it's James Earl Jones.
I have no idea who that is.
Yes, you
No,
do.
you
You
do.
know what he looks like.
Coming to America.
The
You know
father.
the dad, the king.
You see a picture, you're gonna know who it is.
Yeah, you would.
Google it.
Okay.
Google a picture of him later. You're gonna know it's that. You're gonna be like, oh.
Oh.
You're gonna know.
Okay.
Okay, I think we should get this one. So Drake had his start on which teen drama?
I think it's on Nickelodeon.
I think
Think
it's
about
still.
it. It
Oh,
does. You
no.
can still watch it, yeah.
Oh my god. It is, oh gosh. I know it.
I know.
Oh gosh. Damn it, guys.
Starts with D.
I'm thinking, I was gonna say Dynasty, but that's not a Dynasty. It's, can I have a second letter?
D-E.
This is not cool.
I know you know. I know you know. I all them out for you though.
And these are the
Easy questions. I know you know.
You want to say, okay, D-E-G.
Degeneration, something.
D-E-G-R.
Degrades. Oh my god.
Degrassi. Alright, I got something easier. I think this is easier because this is something else that's really popular.
Okay.
Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphries were married for how many days? Before
One
they
day.
No.
Oh
It was a big thing.
It was like, yes,
They made memes about it because
what was it?
said it. Chris was like, and you got
That was
married.
shot.
Yes.
That's normal.
I don't even take that like 72. I think that, you know, they got a point where like
Yeah, so I can think you
could
can
be
get it
annulled
easy. Yeah.
or something. I don't even think they made it to the point where it's called a divorce. The 72.
Wow.
I could be wrong. I would love to be corrected if I am, but I think it's that.
Wow.
Enough smoke though, you see, and you can ask another question.
It happens.
Yeah.
That's 5? That's 5 questions?
No, we have 2 more.
Oh.
No, how many did you say? I think we
Ask me
did.
ask me something about Rihanna.
Okay. What honor? Not even an honor. I shouldn't say it's an honor. What was just bestowed upon Rihanna? Let's just put that out there. We need to rap Beijing.
Yeah,
we need to
that
rap Barbados and let people know.
Yeah.
So it's not an
Rihanna,
honor.
maybe.
It's not an honor, but what was just bestowed upon her?
The Rihanna was bestowed the title of Her Right Excellency Hero.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a hero. Yeah, she's been given the title of hero, national hero of Barbados.
Yeah.
Yes. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So that's, yeah.
I think that's 4.
That's 4. So you have 1 more.
So
Four.
one more.
One more.
Category.
Yeah.
Give me something about your YouTube channel.
The first video.
Yeah.
Where did that
first, your first video was on a beach.
Which
When
one?
I cattle washed in Bathsheba, I don't know. But it was on the beach, y'all were walking in a canoe like thing on a trail track. Yeah.
beach house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes,
Well,
that's beach house.
well,
Yes.
that's right.
Oh, it's a fun.
So you weren't far behind us.
Oh my god! I think I won, guys. Did you think I win?
There was a little dust in your eyes from
You-
the 3 that we gave you, but you're so.
Listen, he didn't do math.
Mm.
He didn't do math.
Oh gosh, the shades. I had to take off my shades because the shade today on the podcast It Happens is really coming. It's coming. Okay, all right. Y'all guys really mean business, so congratulations, unfortunately. I guess it's because it's like y'all were like podcast virgins that I took it easy on you guys and like held back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
It's
I did.
like
Yeah.
a gentle approach. We appreciate it.
That's bad to be beaten by 2 women. Oh gosh. Is it bad? Is it bad? No, it's not.
We're gonna allow your audience
Now
to be
let's
with
put
you.
it. Let's put it. Put it.
Yeah.
Shit happens, and we have not even been drinking, so that just slipped out. So,
You gotta wait. Then
mhm. That's going to be edited out too. The mere fact that y'all guys won will be edited out. That's what I'm saying.
okay.
Yeah.
No problem. No problem.
We know the truth.
We know why.
So like guys, what are you guys watching like right now? What do you think is hot like in terms of Netflix, in terms of like movies and songs?
Rating The Witcher.
Yes. It's this
Sorry,
Netflix,
was that?
It's this Netflix original series called The Witcher. So it's going. The second season is going to come out next week. Saturday or Friday?
Either
It's
Friday or
17th,
Saturday. Yeah,
so
it's
Friday. So I'm really
Okay.
looking forward to that. I don't know if there are any Witcher fans. That's like kind of like a sci-fi.
Yeah.
So
Oh, okay.
I love that. I love
We
it.
are like, we've been waiting almost a year.
I think it's
Basically
over
a
a year.
year and some for it.
Wow.
We are dedicated. Chantal has been like watching the past season to catch up.
Yeah.
I haven't started yet. I have to start so that we're like on it when it launches.
Wow.
Really?
I'll check it out. You guys too can check it out, if you
Yeah.
guys are fans.
You
If
really
you're
like
into
it.
sci-fi, if you're into those mystical creatures,
I am.
it is good. It
It's
is
good.
really good, and it's not just something that you can put on and
Mm-mm.
not
You have to be
watch.
active.
You have to be. It really takes.
Right.
Really takes. You have to.
Pay attention.
All right. So you know, like when in movies they would tell you that they're flashing back. They flash
Yeah.
back and they don't tell you, but
So
they
you have to-
weave it together. But you have to put it together.
You have
for
to
yourself.
decipher it so they.
So you are part of the show as the show goes along.
You
That's interesting.
are in there figuring it out and putting it together and everything.
You gotta pay
That's
attention.
interesting.
Something that you can watch while
Background,
cooking.
yeah. Or put it on in the background and be like, oh yeah. You have to be like, pay attention to what you're watching. But it's really, really good.
Interesting. For me, what I'm watching is The Heist. I'm finishing that up.
Okay.
I
I've
haven't
seen
Yeah.
that advertised. I've seen it come up on Netflix.
I haven't seen it.
I know one of the biggest ones was Behind Her Eyes. That had a lot of people. I don't know if you watched that. That was really good.
My dad watched it, but I didn't. I don't watch a lot of Netflix, to be very honest.
Okay.
But
Mhm.
which because it's coming out, I wanted to go rewatch the first season. But I did hear people speaking about Behind Her Eyes. But typically, I think more so for Paula, those things that are very popular, we don't gravitate towards too while they're
They're
popular.
popular now. So we either it would be a case where we catch it before it's popular, or like everybody's done watched it, they're moved on to something else, and now then the two of us will be like, girl, you watch, let me watch.
That happened to me because everybody was on the Behind Her Eyes wagon, and I'm like, what is this? I saw it on WhatsApp, the statuses and stuff like that. Everybody's. I was like, what is all the fuss about? And then I was like, okay, I watched it, and I was like, oh my god, it was really, really good, really, really good.
I haven't watched it, but one thing that I recently watched that I really enjoyed was Click Ticket.
Yeah.
And Sean
Click Ticket?
but we didn't watch
Okay.
it together, but we watched it.
Okay, lovely,
That was really good.
interesting.
That's
So-
on Netflix as well.
Yeah.
So I think we have to sit before we talk. Do you think so?
Yes, let's go. We're ready.
Yeah, we're ready. We are ready.
Sit before you
Sit
talk.
before you talk.
Before you
Mhm,
talk.
definitely. Yep. So
Paula
what are you guys having?
Paula and I stole one of my father's bottles of wine that were to reimburse him for.
So that's where the punchline goes. SipHappens.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's an Obiqua Moscato. I think this Obiqua is from South Africa. It's a South African brand.
Yeah, it's South Africa.
It's a South
from
African
the Western Cape.
Okay.
It's just one of those very sweet and expensive wines.
Yeah.
I'm drinking a Lamont Paro. A Lamont.
Lamont. That's
Forgive
really
me.
good for sangrias. That's really good for making a red wine sangria.
I love sangrias, by the way.
Yeah.
And I think this is really good for steak too as well. You guys think?
Oh, okay.
I never put it in the steak.
Me either. I've never had it.
I mean,
I don't know if I've ever had
I'm not a wine enthusiast, but I do drink. You know, but I find here in Barbados we do make a lot of
Cheers.
cheers, virtual cheers. You know that we are making a lot of wines here in Barbados from our natural vegetations.
Yeah, Santa and I were having a conversation about it a couple weeks back. Because there's like jamun wine, golden apple.
Yeah, I had one.
The same dunks.
I had that one. I had one recently at an independence get together that a couple of my friends had, and I had the dunks. I have a picture on my phone, but to put link that later. But I had the dunks. It wasn't bad.
I've not
For
had
me, I want to do like a test, and maybe we guys can come back again and do a testing for Bajan wines. You know, do a vlog on that.
Of course.
Don't for anything they do.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah,
So,
because I mean, Barbadians are very inventive as it relates to food, like our pudding and sauce. I can imagine you can imagine a nice Bajan wine, a Dunks wine going with pudding and sauce, as opposed to your coat. Yeah, so we're very innovative.
Yeah, as well, because I love pickles with that.
Like, Bajans love anything.
I've never had that.
It tastes good.
Bajans love
I've had pickled foot. Yes, I've had pickled chicken foot. It is the bomb. It is the bomb.
I only have had chicken feet in soup.
Oh, yeah, I do love chicken foot.
I had it as a sauce alternative. But pickles with cat is tasty.
Alright, guys, so sit before you talk, and the topic tonight, or rather the hot topic tonight, or whenever you're watching this at midnight or morning,
Definitely.
right? It's should porn be censored or banned completely?
Oh there. I'm just topping up. I'm just wetting my lips. Because this is a very interesting topic.
Of course.
Very very interesting topic. So okay. Should porn be censored, banned completely? There are so many questions. I know for sure some people may see porn as an objectification of women. Where women are subservient to men in the actions.
Yeah.
As the activities as a thing. But before we get into that per se, I want to ask, can we say that porn is an actual job, and then we can look at the efficacies of it? You guys think?
I think yes, you could say porn is a job. You're being paid for doing something, and like that is that not the definition of a job? You pay a whole business.
In the semantic sense, in the true semantic sense of the word.
Right. So
yeah.
From a social standpoint, I guess people would be like, "I a job or whatever," but if you're doing work, you're paid for the work that you're done. Technically, it's a job.
It's a job. I think a lot of people may have varying views because of the type of activity that is being done. And then we, as a society, we have this thing about ethics and morals. And then once those things come into play, then we start to remove meaning from certain things. Because as you said, money is involved, and I work on a normal day to day. You guys work, and y'all guys in exchange for money. The same thing the porn stars. I don't know if there's a political correct term, but I don't know if we should call them porn stars or whatever.
I think it's an adult entertainer or something.
Adult entertainers. Okay, so porn stars is really not the political correct term, is it then?
No idea.
Mm,
I don't
that's
believe so.
interesting.
I believe there's a word, and it's something
It's probably adult
an
entertainment.
adult actor
Entertainer.
like that.
Because they're like
Okay, that's
awards that you can win
yeah.
awards.
'Cause I think Rihanna won one for S&M.
Really?
Yeah.
Excuse me one moment.
That's
Okay.
so interesting. Yes, I'll stay.
Thank you. So basically, let's look at a little bit about the objectification of women.
Mhm.
Uh, if pornography actually does that, and then that should that then be a reason for banning and removing and censoring? Do you really think that really does happen in porn? Like
I
women
think that
are
a lot of
objectified?
people see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people see it as an objectification of women in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like, I guess it's some of the things that you do see in porn can put
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't feel comfortable seeing women in that light, and
Mm-hmm.
people then just basically might say, well, that's objectifying them, that's making them an object versus an active participating factor in it. But in some cases, women are participating in the activities and they're okay with being where they are and they don't feel objectified. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it has a lot to do with how you feel about it that determines whether or not you feel they're being objectified.
For me, I think the objectification comes from the viewer, because if I'm a woman and I have agreed to um, be in pornographic material, then I don't see it as an objectification of myself, because then why would you do something that objectifies you or belittles you or berates you as a person? So for me, I think the objectification is from a standpoint of the viewer, and that is then based on their morals and their ethical concerns and perspectives and social upbringing. Um, so like it's just basically where you're from, because okay, for example, um, what is there's a polygamous relationship, there's
Monogamous.
monogamous relationship. Polygamy is when more than one person
Also,
is
yeah,
together, but then yeah, that's okay in certain cultures, right? But
Yeah.
in other cultures, it's frowned upon. So basically, I'm thinking it's all about porn is all about a cultural perception, how the different cultures and societies see it, and based on where you are from, then you would vote for it to be censored, or something. But then in the other breath, do you think that as opposed to objectifying, can porn uplift and give women that women empowerment? Can it be an empowerment tool for women? You guys think? Or is it too fake for women to become empowered by watching porn?
Um, my view on porn is I don't even think it should be like regulated. I think that all the studies that have been done on porn and what it actually does to your brain and your psyche are it's very alarming if you actually read
Mm-hmm.
studies about pornography and what it does to your brain. Um, I don't think it should be regulated. I think as human beings we have a very hard time not basically getting carried away
yeah.
with something. And
Okay.
even with regulation is also just going to be a cultural thing. So what
Yeah.
is going to be okay and regulated in one country is
Will
not
not be the same
in the
in
same.
another.
Now with the
Mm-hmm.
internet, which is where most people view pornography, if your country has regulated it in a certain way, you can put on a VPN and watch it coming from somewhere else. So it's hard to regulate something that clearly people
It reaches any bounds. Like
Yeah.
it's not,
Yeah.
it can't be
It's not.
controlled.
no
Yeah. You can't really.
it's very hard
You,
to regulate
you,
something like that.
SIP happens and people will find a loophole to get
Yeah,
it.
of course.
Basically.
That's one
You
thing
know.
that's what we are when we are met with something that is restricting us. Because everything that a restriction happens is not something that I feel restricting. But when we are met
Mm-hmm.
with it that we feel restricted upon, we do the things that we need to do to help ourselves. So as Shanta said, a VPN. Some people might move. Some people might travel. Like, there are people that, for example, like not being able to control ourselves, as Chantal said. Some people would say,
Mm-hmm.
do not take long flights.
Yeah.
They will fly
Yeah.
for an hour, maybe 2 hours. They will not like,
or get a friend to send them, or get a friend to send them
or they
content.
would have
Because
like
you
go
know,
in or whatever the case may be to suit their needs. So with the
yeah,
regulation, she was saying like people will find a way.
Yeah, they will. And I think it's dangerous because of what porn can do to you. I mean, it's not going to happen to everyone. We are all
mm-hmm,
individuals,
Yeah,
but because of the nature of porn and who can access it, which is
yeah,
basically
anybody.
anyone.
anybody, yeah,
I mean, we have
definitely,
our 2-year-olds on tablets, right? And it doesn't matter
yeah,
any parental controls you have on a tablet, a kid can get into different things. And I just don't really see it as beneficial. You spoke earlier about objectifying women. On the flip
mm-hmm,
side, interestingly enough, I think that debate has really been talked out. But
yeah,
what about the unrealistic expectations then of men,
status,
right?
yeah,
Of men, because a lot
mm-hmm,
of men feel as though they have to now perform like they see men perform in
for
porn.
our 30
Look
minutes,
the way that men look,
Yeah,
song the way that men
right.
yeah,
talk. Sexual intercourse
our length, we're gonna be, you know,
is like an experience that is all your senses. It's sound, it's taste, it's touch, it's all of those different things. And as Chantal said, like now you have like on the flip side, men have all of this long list of
expectations to live up to,
things
yeah.
to look up to.
Yeah,
You should be able to go for this amount of time, and you should have this size paraphernalia down there, you know. If you suffer from premature ejaculation, you know, those things can be quite things. But my question in terms of all of this, like, do you think that this is a bone of contention because we don't usually have conversations about sex? Because here in the Caribbean we don't have the talk with our children. Like, I've never had a sex talk with my mom, so like sex to me is like a taboo thing, and like it's something, you know, like, okay, it's something that it really bites your curiosity because when you see sex, as I said, it's something like taboo. So like having that conversation or not having that conversation may then invite others to want it to be censored because it is something that we see as sacred and something that is hush hush. Do you think?
yeah. I don't think that and it's not just Caribbean people. Any kind of conservative culture, um,
Okay.
we're not open enough to speak about sex, speak about the very thing that has brought us here, speak about the very thing that will
Exactly.
continue the human race, and
Yeah.
we demonize it, and we call it nasty
Yeah.
and inappropriate and
Yeah.
really very wrong. And
You put a negative spin on it.
yeah, and it doesn't make any sense to me because your kids are gonna have sex whether you want them to or not. They're gonna find a way, and one of those
They're all going to go into adults. They are sexual beings.
exactly one of those ways is by finding out about pornography. Because if you're not getting it from your parent
You
or
will
whoever
search.
your guardian is, you're gonna search for it and finding out about it rather, and your only instruction being from pornography, you're going to grow with a warped sense of what a sexual relationship is and what sex is in general. So it's very,
Mm-hmm.
very harmful. And as I'm saying, it's not going to be everyone because there are always outliers. There are going to be people that can watch porn, never become addicted. It's not gonna change how they see the opposite sex. But as a society, we always have to protect our most vulnerable, right? That's what you are supposed to do in a
Because they're the
society,
next representation of
right?
Yeah.
what our
We,
success
we,
will look like.
It's
definitely.
something based at least on the studies and the research that I've done. It really isn't good. I don't see any benefits of it. I don't see any
And
benefits of it.
do you think, because you spoke briefly about teaching tool, do you think that it can be used as a teaching tool? Like, should a parent sit down with their daughter or their son and, okay, let's say I'm getting married and I'm, you know, but then marriage, now you can marry at different ages, so that varies. You know, you may not want to be 40 something. You may not want to be 40 something and talking to your mom about how to have the sex. You know, so like, do you think it can be used as a teaching tool or opening up to I want to say demystifying the tabooness of sex?
But I think because porn offers sometimes such unrealistic views of sex,
Mm-hmm.
sitting down with my child
Okay.
or, as a godparent, whatever, you sitting down with the child that you want to educate on sex. showing them something that's unrealistic puts them in it doesn't give them the right step forward in understanding what's going on. It's like it's like me showing you a pumpkin as a coconut, I'm calling it a coconut, and then you go there calling it coconut. That's not what it is, and that's the problem that I think you face with porn. It's unrealistic in many ways, and to let that be the first interaction that they have with somebody, how do they then interact in the real world?
Because okay, I get what you're saying. It's like you see certain things happening, and you are unable to try to be as limber as some of the things you see. You know, some of the things are not necessarily healthy in terms of like what they'll do, like what we would call like double penetration and those things. So like, as you said, the unrealistic thing about porn is that yes, it is seen as a job, but at the end of the day, it creates this fantasy about something that we as human beings cannot get away from. We are all sexual and social creatures.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's more so entertaining than for me a teaching tool. So I do agree. In the sense that teaching wise, you know, on the base sense that you would watch a porn for like an hour and 30 minutes, and you may not last 5 seconds, and that's just your reality.
You see, I think too, if we really speak about a teaching tool and what a teaching tool is supposed to do in relation to sex and sex education, porn could never be used as a teaching tool.
Okay.
You don't need to teach your child how to have sex, right?
Wow.
And porn is seeing people having sex. So your body is the way that it is. A woman doesn't need to be shown an instructional video on how to give birth. Your body does what it's supposed to do. And
okay, interesting.
You don't need to tell your daughter, well, you need to get on top of a man and go back and forth and make the letter 8. And you don't need to tell your daughter that. That's not the education that you need to give your children. Because really, through their experience, they will get that. Their bodies will do what they're supposed to do. I mean, come on, we are adults. We know that you need these things as you go. Porn is not going to teach you things anyway.
Sex is also an interaction between two people as well. So it's that learning curve that you will learn from your partner will learn from you. And even if that's not if, you know, that's the only partner you have for the rest of your life or whatever the case may be, you will constantly be learning. And your body, it knows what it's supposed to do. If it was a case where, I'm sorry to get a little too or TMI,
that is fine.
It was supposed to do it wouldn't lubricate.
Yeah, that's fine.
The body knows what it's supposed to do in order to create this, and we're sexual beings because we procreate to create. So do something that's so unrealistic to teach.
It's like, okay, so I set up a ring light so that we could get adequate lighting. Now the ring light has like an instruction manual per se. Now this manual is going to tell me how to use this ring light. It's not right. This manual is specific to this ring light. I can't use this manual and use it on any ring light.
Any ring light, yeah.
The pornography. You are showing a child, if we're talking about education, you're showing a child one way in which these people are doing something. And that
may not even meet their needs, their capabilities, not expectations, but what they can do, their ability.
So with every partner that you have, partners are different and they want different things. Maybe even as you age, your likes and dislikes for sex are different. So
that's interesting.
To use pornography, it can't be a teaching tool because that's not what it was created for. No. Like this manual was created for the ring light, so it's going to work. So you have to use it as a teaching tool. You have to construct something that's going to be used, and that's why sex education really needs to be tailored, because we don't need to teach our kids how to have sex. It's going to come back. We need to teach them.
It's a natural process.
Right.
It's a biologically natural.
So what we should be teaching is health, how to protect themselves. about
Mm-hmm.
consent,
Yeah.
the legality of sex, because those are the things. And porn doesn't teach you anything about that.
Would you add because I did a course at UB called Philosophy of Sex and Love. Would you add in terms of defining sex? Because as we know, sex, would you say sex is only biological, or would it, in the sense that once there's penetration, that's sex? Or would you say sex is also like your feelings, what you feel inside for that person while having that? If you understand what I mean, because we did look at that in the philosophy of it. Like, do you have to have a connection, or like if there's no connection with the person, did you have sex, or if you've had penetration, did you just have sex? Then that would then exclude lesbian relationships. Would it be that two male couples are not having sex if we're looking at sex as
Rational.
yeah, yeah, so like the terms of defining sex and what does sex mean, do you think that that's important, that discussion is important?
I think that sex is such a dynamic entity
Mm-hmm.
because as you talked about the different sexualities and the different experiences that people can have. So I think
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things that when you try to put an Oxford dictionary definition on it,
Yeah, oh wow, wow, yeah, speak,
just
speak.
doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very honest. Like I think that there's just some things that are just like an ocean. There are constant ripples and changes and tides and moves and
Yeah,
lows and highs
yeah,
and
oh wow,
certain things.
beautiful.
Just really
Mm-hmm.
don't have that full sentence full stop sentence definition. In my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I agree, because like for me, as you said, sex is so dynamic, because like, okay, if I'm doing it for working purposes, um I'm performing sexual acts, yes, but am I having sex? And a lot of people think that sex is penetration and orgasming and blah 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 blah, and that's that. But for me, sex could be so much more like a connection, like um it's, I don't know. It's just it's like you trying to catch your soap in the bath. It's so slippery. I mean, I can't think of any other analogy. Oh my god, like, but it's like legit. I don't want to say grabbing at straws, but it's like you're trying to catch your soap, and as soon as you get it, it goes up, because yeah, because there's so many things in terms of as we said, so many different sexualities, and in terms of gender constructs now, and this is the 21st century that we're living in. We now have to reshape our thinking of what sex actually is, and what does it mean to be having sex. Um, if I don't have an intrinsic connection with you, but I orgasm, or I did not orgasm, did I actually have performed a sex? And I did enjoy that course tremendously. It really shook me. And in terms of like machinery, and now that we have robots coming on, the AI and technology being so advanced, I mean, that is another kind of fish as it relates to censoring porn and the whole idea of what sex is, if it's between just two humans. Now we have little machineries that will help us here and there. When we don't have our sexual partners, you're overseas on a business trip. You feel a little tingly like Spider Man. You get your particular instrument and you turn off the lights.
Or you enjoy being
Yeah.
with yourself
Yeah.
as well. Sometimes people that are in relationships
So
Yeah,
would still use it.
yeah,
I just wanted to insert into what you were saying. We have to look at the law too when we look at these things, because
yeah.
sex, in terms of the law in most Western countries in the Western sphere of the world,
Mm-hmm.
sex is penetration of a vagina by a
Yeah,
so if
yeah.
you are raped as a female by another female, it will not be considered rape, and you cannot file a charge for rape. You have to file a charge for something under sexual assault,
Statutory, something.
something like that. So as you said, we're in the 21st century, and we cannot ignore what's happening around us, whether you like it or not. Forget about what you like and what you don't like.
or what you agree and don't agree.
Yeah,
This is where we're at in
This
the
is
world.
where we're at, and we have to address the legislation that is around these
Mhm.
things, and that's very, very important. It's really very
Mhm.
important because you can't tell me that I wasn't violated or I wasn't raped because it was from another female and
Email, yeah.
yeah, and I'm a female. So all of those things really have to come into play when we're speaking about sex.
And that's interesting because one of the articles we had to read for the course was this lady. She was talking about her sexual experiences, and she dabbles in both. She was like a Hannah Montana. She was living the best of both worlds. SipHappens. Right? She was like a Hannah Montana. But she was saying, she asked a very pertinent question. She said she had sexual activity with a woman, but there was no penetration. So she was asking in the article, did she have sex? And I was like, wow. It made me backpedal and sit on my seat. And I mean, Dr. Burton, who taught the course at UE, would be very, very proud because I began to think like, wow, I've never really thought about if there's no penetration, does sex really occur?
Not in the definition term that we use now,
Yeah.
not in that sense, but as Paula said, it's like the ocean. You have to know what I guess sex, means
What you
for
define
you,
it.
Mhm.
what you define it as, and porn cannot teach you that. That really is a conversation that is actually better to have with your parents
Yeah.
and them actually
Mhm.
educating you about those things because through porn you're not going to get that, and you also learn those things through experience. And if you're
Yeah.
not in sexual experiences, you're not going to understand what for you feels like sex and what for you doesn't feel like sex. So all of those things come through experience and being with different people, whether it be from people of opposite sexes or the same sex, you kind of have to figure that out for yourself. It's nothing that's
Then,
defined for you.
then my question is, okay, so let's say let's say one of us, maybe you and I, or me and Paula were together, and I said to Paula, okay, so let's use porn as a way to find out what we like as a couple.
Mhm.
Can then that work?
I mean,
Can we say, okay, let's sit and watch it together to see if this is something that you would like, this is something that I would like, as a idea prompter. What do you guys think about that? As couples sitting together as a unit and say, okay, let's see what we like here. Let's see what we can do. Because there's so many different things in terms of like there's voyeurism. There are people who like to watch, and there are people who like to be watched, right? Again, the dynamics of it. So, like, do you think that it's healthy for couples to sit and watch together to see?
I don't want to say it's healthy or it's not healthy because I feel like as a couple you have to decide what is in balance for you. So to make a different
Okay.
statement on that, I wouldn't say that. What I would say
Mhm.
as a couple, if y'all have a conversation and y'all are both comfortable, it's try what you want to try. That doesn't
Mhm.
try other things. So it really just has to depend on what you two as a couple sit down and decide you want to do, really.
I just want to add to that, and I do very much agree with you. And in doing something like that, it's always important to understand the consequences of a situation, both positive and both negative, and understand when you invite certain things into your relationship, what positive can come and what negative can come. So
Beautiful.
right,
Lovely.
if you and your partner, whomever that may be, if you both understand the pros and the cons of what you're doing, and this is not just in pornography, this is just in life. When you make a decision, when you do things, understand both sides of what you're doing. If you believe that then the risk of something bad happening, that the benefits basically outweigh that risk, then that would be then a good decision for you to make as a couple if you deem to do so. But always be cognizant that they're both good and bad or positive and negative consequences of doing something, and that's with anything in life.
And what I'm also interesting, lamenting on what you guys said, at first we began that in the semantic sense of job and work and labor, that then we can put porn there because it's an exchange of service for money, like what we do on a normal day. let's look at the outside factor. Because okay, we all have jobs. The three of us have jobs, and we don't go home and have our jobs with us. We go home to a family. So let's look at the family setting now, as it relates to those persons in the entertainment industry, as it relates to porn. Because in choosing the topic, I was like not necessarily focusing on the persons that are involved. I'm also looking at the outside persons that are indirectly affected by this. So let's say, for example, I have a wife and a child at home. What do you guys think about my family and the effects of what I do as an adult as it relates to my family, like the stigma that is attached to my family? Let's talk a little bit about that.
I mean, on one end of the spectrum, there are things like that are very normal.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of the culture, regardless of the society, there are going to be people that are sex workers in whatever way, and that may be nothing to them, and that may be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But as you were saying, there is a lot of stigma attached to pornography, right, all around the world.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of sex work, any kind of sex work, there's a stigma attached to it, and of course, stigma means something bad. So
Yeah.
always repercussions. So there's always the consequences on the good and on the bad side, and
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the other reasons why I personally don't believe, and at least just at this time in my life, when you change it as you grow, as new information becomes readily available to you. But
Mm-hmm.
at this point, I don't see any benefit in pornography because of something like that, because of the fact that your partner may be ostracized,
Or
your
your
Yeah.
child.
child.
Or your family, your child, because your child still has to go into a school setting,
Exactly. How
right?
uncomfortable and how embarrassing is it as a child, whether you're a female or a male, and you go to school and kids around you are watching your mother or your father in a
Plumbing.
pornography
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that can really be very uncomfortable for a child.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's a husband, because there are people that are involved in sex work and pornography that
Are
is
married.
only
Are married.
and it's not both partners,
Yeah.
it's just one. So those things get very tricky, and it's really unfortunate that how they say, like, the sins of the mother fall
Fall
on
on
the
the son,
children.
yeah.
And
So
the child, yeah. That's,
so it
You
has
as a
nothing to do
person
with
in
the
that
child.
situation feel strong enough to bear the brunt.
Yeah,
But children don't have
mm-hmm.
that
yeah,
thick skin, and it's a lot harder to
yeah. I mean, some kids aren't
So,
going to care, but
true.
I
For
mean,
the
the
ones that do,
majority of
yeah.
them will.
so what would you say? Because I mean, it is happening because we are living in a world where, as again, this is the 21st century, where things that are of taboo that are now coming of age. We have the guy who is married to Gabrielle Union, their son
Yeah.
being trans. What is the political transgender transition?
I think I'm
I
not
actually
sure
really
what
don't
I'm not
know.
sure what he or
What?
she has said
Or done. I'm not.
they
I
are.
understand what you're talking about.
Right.
But I'm not sure what it.
I'm
How
not
it's gone.
sure. I believe though that she's identifying as a
For
female.
as a right,
Transgender. I
Or
don't
what?
know if this is queer,
right,
What
but I believe that she's identifying
as a female?
as a
as a
female,
female,
but was born biologically as a male. But
as
I
a
ain't
male, right.
got her
So I
name.
mean, like in this 21st century, we have things that were really legit put on the back burner, now becoming on the front burner, and it's almost okay. And you find a lot of our young people are so okay with it because the discussion is out there. It's everybody's just becoming sensitized to it. So in terms of like, okay, so let's say I'm a 5 year old going to elementary school or primary school, what we would call here in Barbados, and my mom's what we would call a sex worker. I mean, like, okay, like no one really bats an eye. I mean, but before it was like, oh my god, his mom is a sex worker, like, and you were pretty much shunned and ostracized and stigmatized because of what your parents would have done. But I think with the whole movement, with the whole LGBTQ movements demystifying gender constructs. And I mean, yes, people talking about the agendas of the LGBTQ community, but you're just looking at everybody coexisting within this space. And I think that porn now is becoming that because I watched a clip, which I can also post when I post on YouTube, is that a priest and a person, person in the entertainment industry, i.e., sex worker, actually had a conversation, and they never thought that those two persons within that entities and those spaces will actually come together and have things in common. So, like, I mean, they legit had a good podcast session with each other, and it was so weird to see like a priest and, as I said, somebody who is in the pornography industry sit and have a chat. It is so interesting to find out this. So that it's like dispelling all of the.
Yes, and I think that's what happens. If I believe that um that gardening is a nasty profession, anybody that gardens, I'm going to have a very negative skew on them, and I'm automatically going to think they're a bad person. I'm going to think that they do bad things. But being a sex worker doesn't mean that you're an immoral person. Being a sex worker doesn't mean that you go and kill children at night. It doesn't make you a bad. It doesn't make you a bad person. I think that that's why people are so shocked when they do find out that there's sex workers working among them. Some people don't even know that one of their friends is a sex worker, and they don't know. But we like to vilify people and put people into and stereotype people just because of this one characteristic.
I also think, piggybacking on what you said, I also think that we see sex as something so sacred. I mean, to put it out there for general consumption is like, oh my God.
It's one of the oldest professions.
It is. It's very much.
Is it?
Yes.
Because there was prostitution in biblical times, if you were a Christian.
But what I think in relation to that situation with the priest and the sex worker, I think what we do as human beings is that we take our labels and make them define us, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
Lawyer, that's my profession, that's not who I am. I'm a
right.
doctor,
Lovely.
but that's not who I am.
So I'll stick to that.
Worker and a priest can't, like, watching movies right together, or like, action films, or paintball, or gardening, or playing cards. Like, we need to labeling ourselves and making that scene, and that's what we are, and we can do nothing else but that.
Because as I said, in the viewing, and I'll send it to you guys so that you guys can see, in the viewing, a lot of demystification happened on both entities. Because the sex worker was like, oh, well, I don't think priests do this. And he was like, yeah, we do that. Like, he was like, oh, and she was like, and he was like, well, I don't think, and he was like, oh. So it was all a learning experience for both parties. And the beautiful thing about it is that they respected each other's differences. And I think that that's the beauty about being human, is that we all do things differently, and we all have varying reasons as to why we do things. You don't know why somebody, I mean, there are people who are educated sex workers. Let's not take that away from them. And they have tried, they have sent out countless applications, they've been to countless interviews, and they have 4 or 5 children to feed. Yes, we would say, we want to promote and sensitize persons on, controls,
I got you.
Children controls. I
I
think the wine has gotten to me, guys. So look at the bottle.
There.
Right? But I mean, like, people have exhausted their the goodness of doing things the right way. And I know if I had a child who is saying, Daddy, I'm hungry, and somebody says to me, well, Damar, if you do a little film for like $5,000 US,
you feed your child.
More than a bit.
You feed your child.
I'm asking, do you want my shirt buttons down, or do you want everything off? Do you want it exact?
Do you want me to drop?
Do you want it?
You see, that's the thing, and that's why these industries will thrive, because we have not done what we're supposed to do as a society to support persons like that. we have
I
not
raise my glass.
we have not
I raise
done
my
what
glass.
we're supposed to do, because it should be that a man or a woman has to sell their body to support their child, and what happens, or even support themselves. Let's not even just talk about children, because if you don't have children and you're barely touching your back, which is amazing.
In terms of like the three of us are all academics, and we know that education, in order for us to for upward mobility, is quite expensive. Our masters is no little bit of money. You know, Paula, you know, Shanta, y'all can testify to this. I'm paying $35,000, and if I know I can get $5,000 for one video, and I can do 3 or 4 and get more than $5,000 in that short space of time, after working an 8 to 4 job and getting $2.50 at the gas station, I'm doing that video.
Exactly.
I am not kidding you. You will see me on xhamster.com.
That really
It
late.
happens.
I will pay for it. I will pay. I will pay. Make it a paper for you.
Thank you. And I would say when I get Valiant Victoria that Chantal helped pay for my school fees.
That lifestyle as well.
Yeah, but you see what happens with that as
I think
well.
people get addicted to the person.
Yeah, but you see what happens with that when you do something out of desperation, and
Mhm.
that's a lot of people within the pornography industry
They state that.
are desperate, and then they do things that they don't actually consent to do. They
Yeah.
do things because they feel they have to do them.
Yeah.
Can we explore that word desperation? Because okay, I want to explore in the sense that, again, I'm going to use the three of us because we're young, we're academics, and we know how hard it is to fight. We've sent out countless job applications, and we've gotten the interviews, and we've been denied. Would you say that one of the three of us resorting to porn would be desperate? I just want to add a little context of what we mean by desperation. If you understand what I'm saying.
Desperation is not something that you could just.
Mm-hmm.
Because my
Again,
desperation is Chantal's desperation, and it's not hers.
and it's all
Yeah.
where you hold the sex work.
Exactly.
If sex work for you is something that's like okay, but if sex work for you is something that, oh my gosh, this is the last thing that I would
that's
do.
how some people feel. Some people is like, as like you said, 3 videos, my master's paid for.
Okay.
Other people will be like, I'm working at the gas station for the next 10 years. Whatever. It's where you
Okay.
It's your values.
Yeah.
It's your values and your morals, I guess. Wherever those align, I guess then that's how you can chart your desperation.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally don't feel comfortable with doing sex work just because honestly
point blank it's not for me.
I mean, I don't even say it's not for me. I haven't tried something to definitely say it's not for me, but I would attach my value to that. I would attach my value to that $5,000 US, and I would think to myself, wow, this is how much I'm worth, $5,000 US, and that would mess with my head, and I wouldn't feel good about myself. So it doesn't have to do with any kind of spirituality or religious or any kind of moral thing. For me, it's my self-worth just as an individual, as a human being, that I would do something like that. I would say that I would have to be so very desperate, because you never say never, but don't look for porn anytime soon.
I
can see my trailer for this podcast be so bomb.
Yeah. Nah, not. I understand how people get there and how they want to, and I understand that there's some people that are really empowered in doing it. There's people that say that they love to do that. I have no judgment, but it's not for me. I don't need to, like, as Shanta said, like, desperation is something that you definitely is a personal thing. Hers is not mine, and mine is not yours, and whatever. But for me personally, it's just not something that I would do. And as I say, you know, say never or whatever the case is.
But never.
I mean, okay, to be quite honest, I would say if circumstances, if I know I've tried because for me, I know how it is to grow up without a dad, and I've seen my mom struggle. I know what it is to be in poverty. And I mean, I do understand where you guys are coming from, but for me, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't. I mean, it would then determine me where I am at that particular time in my life,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And then and also like what I am willing to do, because I mean there's not a lot I would do, because again there's sort of, because we are academics, and that's what drives us as young people. So can you imagine me want to achieve my goals in the academic arena and somebody going to post me up on X hamster? I mean, but then too, then you gotta look at the efficacies. And I mean, like, okay, for example, we have to understand that human beings are not one dimensional. My hair is sticking out. I don't want that.
It look
We,
good,
we,
bro.
we,
It look good.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
We have to understand that we are not one dimensional. A lot of us as human beings, we fall victim of labeling people by one narrative. We suffer from the one story narrative as human beings. So like if someone does porn, we know them as a porn star forevermore, amen. We don't see them outside of that. We don't see them as anything else other than, and I think that that's sad. I mean, and a lot of people do ask the question, and you guys can tell me what you guys think. If Chantal and I are married, what's the difference between me giving Chantal money to get her hair done for exchange of sex and marriage and companionship, than a porn star?
There's so much different
Yeah.
to that, because we would have to break down so much. But like within a marriage, if we just go surface level,
Okay.
within a marriage, I don't want to say that it's expected that you have
Mhm.
sex, but I would think that you would want
Want
to
to
have
have sex with this
with your partner.
Yeah.
If you are having sex for money, more than likely it's not really something that you want to do. Yes, as Paula said, there's some people that feel
They do
empowered
feel empowered
by
by
it,
it. Yeah.
but the average person is not feeling empowered by selling their body in whatever
Think
way.
about it like this. Think about how so many people feel about their job.
Mhm. Yeah.
I came in here, I got to this again, in oh I done. So if we apply that
Yeah.
to sex worker taking that same approach to a job, that's not the same way that you relate to your marriage.
Yeah, because I don't think sex
Okay.
are going out there with emotions, because if you're doing a pretty bad job, because you would be calling your clients, they wouldn't be calling you.
Yeah.
Because you become so attached to them, I don't think it would work. If we're talking about sex work or pornography, right? And people don't understand too, porn is a movie. There are many cuts,
Yeah.
there's
Edited.
editing. This is
It
not
is.
Yeah.
Not oiled and
right.
all
This
the
is not
above.
sex that just happens like that. This is a movie that is
Yeah.
constructed for viewing
It's
pleasure.
entertainment. It's
right?
created for you to
It's
enjoy.
Yeah. It's pretty. Yeah.
So that's another reason why you can't use it as an educational tool, because it's not real, right? It's
Real, yeah.
not real. But that's typically not how you would have sex within a regular marriage. Everyone's marriage is different, but I said baseline. Let's just talk about average. That's not what sex is really within a regular marriage. So you would want to have sex with your partner, and based on how your finances rather are set up in your marriage, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a housewife, and your husband, in this case that we're talking about, if we were married, Tamar, and you were financially supporting our family, I wouldn't see it as me having sex with you for the money, right?
Mhm.
I personally wouldn't see it that way in terms of what we know as marriage, right? But
Mhm.
I guess maybe some people could view it that way, but in sex work, you're doing that as a job. Your marriage is not a job. Your marriage is not a transaction.
Yeah.
I couldn't compare the two. Unless your
Okay.
marriage is actually a transaction, like when you're married for a visa, right?
Shit happens. I mean, unless you're royalty, like you know, you know. In terms of like a good conversation starter, let's say two persons, X and Y, and again, this is the 21st century, so we have to be sensitive about the other gender constructs out there, and the other types of relationships. So let's say X and Y are meeting, and X says to Y, I am part of the entertainment industry as it relates to pornography.
Okay.
Should a relationship blossom? Should that be the curtail? Should that announcement be the curtail of a dating process, of a relationship in terms of boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend, girlfriend?
I mean, I can only speak for myself personally, and
That's fine. That's fine.
I would want to know because
Same.
that's something that directly impacts
Impacts,
my
yeah.
health. That's the
Mhm.
first and foremost thing. It impacts my health.
Yeah, and funny enough, we didn't ever have a conversation on that because we're not. I mean, the health things is always spoken about, but
Yeah,
I
I
do
mean,
agree.
for
Yeah,
me, in terms of health, like I think it goes without saying, but a lot of people don't think about those things when
yeah,
they're thinking about
yeah.
sex. But my number one thing would be my health would be in some kind of danger. It would be in more danger rather than somebody that wasn't within the industry because you're exposing yourself to so many people. No matter
More.
how many tests, how much protection you use, things can always happen, right? It happens. Right?
Yeah.
Things can always happen. So I would want to know that up front because I would
Mhm.
want to be able to make an
Decision,
informed
yeah.
decision.
Mhm.
And we tend to hide things a lot in relationships because we are afraid of how the other
Yeah.
person will react. But I think oftentimes if you lay your cards on the table for someone and they can make an informed decision and they don't feel as though you
Or
bamboozle
pull the
them,
rug out from underneath
right?
them.
They are able to more sit with it and make a better decision. And sometimes it does turn out, in your favor. So as an adult at the baseline, you should let all of those things be known.
So let's say the relationship does blossom. You know, we're all being positive. We're all living in this utopia world, and the relationship takes off. Do you think that there would be issues in terms as it relates to intimacy? Like, okay, well, I see you do this at work. Why you're doing this with me? Why you just lay down there and in the morning and good, and I see you. You know,
But that
you had a really
what
good.
that point I was making earlier about
Mm-hmm.
you want your partner to perform in a way that's unrealistic.
I
Porn is
think,
editing. You're talking about what they work. You say, I see you do this at work. So you've seen
Mhm.
edited, probably 5 hours of time, 5 hours of film time crushed into 30.
Instruction because the director could be like, do this and do it this way and say it this way. But that may not be really you.
Really are.
But my pushback to that, Paula, would be if you are able to do it for a cut because it made the cut. You don't think that you can do it in a relationship? If you understand what I mean.
But if okay, so if I'm married to an actor and in a movie he played that he's abusing me, then
I see what's happening. I see where we're going.
that's the point that
Right.
I'm making.
Okay.
Actors, they're entertainers, and that's what they're doing that for entertainment. That's not who they are.
You see,
Yeah.
it's about porn. If you're probably going to be successful in the porn industry, you can't have sex like how you would like. You have to have sex like how the people want to see
People
it.
that are paying tell you what they want. You have to what the client is
Right.
asking for. You have to perform in
You
that
may
way.
be asking your partner to go up on the eyelash flip, do the
And
barracuda,
listen.
and all of these different things.
Turn around, pick
Right,
strawberries.
because you've seen it in the film.
Exactly.
But
all
they may
really
not be
want
pleasured by that.
Exactly.
They're doing that for work, right? They may not be that. It's like, listen, have you ever heard of relationships where one person is a chef and they cook for work, but they do not cook at home?
Yeah, I've heard chefs come home and eat cornflakes, and I'm like, what? You are a world-renowned chef, and you will make cornflakes? That's an insult to the industry. Oh my God.
And secondly, at the end of the day, it's like that's
That's a job.
That's their job.
That's a job.
We keep deciding that your job or a title is who you
Defines
are.
you.
And that's not
Yeah.
it.
You see, maybe
Yeah.
if we took the approach of letting people know that pornography is not real. Maybe if
Yeah.
that approach,
Like movies.
it would change people's perception.
Yeah.
But when we tell people that pornography is sex, that's where we go wrong. That's why
That's
we
where
don't
the confusion
understand.
happens.
Exactly. And if you have a general conversation with the average person, they're going to say that there's nothing wrong with porn and that porn is sex, and that could not be furthest or farther rather from the truth. Pornography is not sex. It's not. It's a movie. To the point that there are porn awards. And I found this out in Jamaica at UB. I went onto a flat of a friend, and in the sense it was a male flat, and of course they had a TV in there, and they were watching the porn awards. There are awards like the Grammys or like the Emmys or like the
Oscars.
So therefore, it can't be.
It's not real. These actors receive awards for
their best performance.
They get up and they give speeches, and I remember this one in particular with this lady, and she got up and she was like, I was so excited to be working with him. And in my head, I'm like,
but that
she was. You can't say that way because she's having a pleasurable experience, so she was really excited. Who's not excited about sex?
You're like, I was so excited to work with this director. I saw their vision before and another project. It's the same.
It's an industry. It's an industry. People don't understand that. People feel a little horny and they go and they watch it and they don't understand what's really going on, behind the camera. They don't understand what actually goes into this industry, and that's
you know what I find funny is that we have you guys can testify to this. We have meetings for our YouTube channels and our podcast, with our team. If you don't have a team, if you're that big, what's not. Can you imagine going to a morning meeting for your?
But they do.
Like a movie set. There's a man with a boom and a man with a camera and their mics and there's testing and
there's
lighting.
There's all of those things. So let me tell you this interesting story, because when you sent me the document about what we were going to speak about, this came to my head. So this is the first thing that came to my head. Now the first time I would have ever seen porn would have been with a group of girls. My best friend at the time, I can't remember if we were in first or second form, but it would have been either first or second form, I believe. So we would have been around 11, 12 years old. And we went on the computer, and it was me, her cousin, and I can't remember if there was anyone else there, but I remember it was the three of us for sure. And I don't know what website we went on, or I cannot remember. But we stumbled upon the most stereotypical porn video of a general worker coming to a woman's home to fix something, right?
Like
like a plumber kind of situation. And we sat down and we laughed because the acting was so terrible in the thing. So it's like you have to really understand that these things are scripted, that they go into a room, whether it's
a writer's meeting,
right? Whether it's that or not, because there's stuff that
our table read.
You understand, but at least before they do it, they're gonna tell them, okay, well, we need these angles, we need this angle, we need this kind of shot, we need to do this, we need to do that.
To your camera.
And you need to be able to do that,
and mid-stroke, they could yell, all right, cut, we need to do from here. So it's like, this is a movie, guys.
In the street, it's $1 billion, maybe even more.
Yeah.
I would think it's trillion right now.
It makes money.
Yeah.
Therefore, you are creating content you think people want.
Yep, very much.
Yeah.
Very much.
I mean, I mean, it's a lot. Again, what I like is to discuss these taboo topics because this is something that a lot of people go like, oh, let's not talk about that. Let's hush it up. And I think there is room in our societies for it so that we can understand it a bit more. We can not as okay. It depends on who you are, what you want to appreciate, but we want to see what role or function it plays within our society, and if it can. And then too, I mean, if you want to be, provocative or be the devil's advocate, who really dictates where porn functions or what functions or role does it adopt within our society? That's going to be interesting to find out, who actually says, okay, let's not have it, let's have it. Let's censor it, let's ban it. Let's say it objectifies women. Let's say it does this. because these things are interesting. And what comes to mind is that as I was remembering the case where abortion, the whole debate around if abortion should become legalized or not. And if you looked at the committee that comprised the persons that have the say to say yes, we want it or no, we want it, 95% were predominantly men. But a man can have an abortion. So like
you see,
who are we,
there are
who are we putting?
so many people at play when you look at certain things, and if you are not educated, and I don't mean in terms of book smarts, but if you are not educated on the issue,
Yeah.
that you would not understand. Now, I think it is Visa and Mastercard. I can't remember if it was last year or this year because COVID has riddled things in my brain. But on a lot
Same here.
of platforms, they have stopped supporting using Visa and Master to pay to watch pornography online, right? So
Wow.
they created a big thing with cryptocurrencies, right? So they were ready to pull out of certain pull out, no pun intended. They were willing to pull out of certain things. So when we look at the regulators and how this industry functions, there are so many people at play within this.
Yeah.
So it is very, very hard to regulate something like pornography. And I don't think
Yeah.
personally that it is possible. I'm not saying that it isn't possible. I just personally don't think that it's possible to regulate
Yeah, because
pornography.
I mean, and in terms you can't police in terms of policing. You can't stop me from taking up my camera. I mean, my podcast is not only an audio podcast, but it's a video podcast. You can't stop a person from picking up a camera and say, let's film this sex session that we're about to have, regardless of if I'm a couple or not.
Mhm.
And let's release it for general consumption, for public consumption. You can't really stop that, And even if I may not put it on a streaming platform, I can send it to you guys. I can send it as a broadcast. So, like, in terms of policing and regulation, you can't really be there and say, you know what, I'm going to take away your devices, your recording devices, and, you're going to be prohibited from that,
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's quite interesting. I just think that is in terms of wrapping up and bringing it all now to a nice conclusive note is that the whole notion of censoring porn will never be a thing. It will never be. That's one thing that we could probably say that we know for sure that will never ever happen.
Yeah, it wouldn't
Never.
be effective because there are different things that censor porn. There are certain regulatory bodies that do these things, but
So there's
as
always
human
somebody for
beings,
and against. There are always people
yeah,
that, are
as
against
human
everything.
beings,
Yeah.
we can get around those things, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, wasn't it the whole big issue with Mark Zuckerberg and his thing, and people being hacked? But I don't want to call it things because I don't want to be,
This
the
podcast will
FBI,
never see
the
the
FBI, SIP would really happen. But like, I mean, things happen. So you have one measure to counteract a certain problem, and then somebody creates something to counteract the problem in which you created to counteract their problem, and it's technology is so. Uh, we, I mean, it just takes back to the AI thing. I was watching a movie with AI, and the AI created this accident for the man to think so that he can live. Technology, it is thing.
Yeah.
You can do
Yeah.
as much firewalls as you want, as many firewalls as you want, but there's always going to be a loophole. As it relates to censoring porn, as we said, it will never happen. It will have so what then would you suggest as it relates to the whole topic of taboo? As not censoring it, then what? If not censored, then what?
I mean, there are things as adults that I believe, especially, and I'm saying as adults because you should be able to do, as an adult, make an informed decision. As an adult, you should be free to view, what you want if it is
What you want to
available,
do, yeah.
right? Once it's available.
Yeah.
But in terms of you speaking about it being a teaching tool and the role that porn plays within our societies and whatnot, in the same way that we don't talk about sex with our children, it's the same way we don't talk about pornography. And maybe if we
Mm-hmm.
dispel these myths of pornography, it could possibly function in a better way once people really had, I guess, a better understanding of what it is, right?
Yeah.
That it is a movie, that it is entertainment, that it is fake,
unrealistic.
that it is scripted. Just like how a lot of people think that reality TV shows are real, and they really aren't. These are scripted things that even though there are things going on in these people's lives, that they script them to make it a
And
story.
it's also
Yeah.
Entertainment.
you don't want to get out there.
You can take it out, right? So I think
Yeah.
that there needs to be an effort in speaking about sexual education. There needs to be an effort to speak about pornography, right? And speak about it in a way that is real, and not speak about it in a way that's fairy, and not speak about it in
Wow.
a way that it's bad, but just
Or
give
not
you
speak
the
about it
at all. Just give you the facts about it, and then you can choose whether this is something that you want to engage with or not, because you have both sides of the story. You have a complete understanding of what something is. So as an adult, you can make a decision whether it's something that you would like to consume or not. And for your children, as a parent, you have to decide based on your child, based on your parenting methods, whatever it is, how you will speak to your children about pornography and how you will speak to them about sex, because that's very important. So if we more dispel those myths and let people know what porn really is and really break it down for people, they can have an enjoyable experience with it and not let it get to the point it is. We don't watch movies and think that we can climb on buildings with spider webs when we see Spider-Man, because we understand that this is not
That is fictional. Yeah.
when we are watching, yes, we have what we call suspended disbelief, because you're believing when you're watching what's going on, but we know that it's not real, and that doesn't happen with pornography for the most part.
Anything before we wrap up?
I think it's,
Are you?
for me personally, and it boils down as the stuff that Sean and I talk about all the time. I'm a very big person of understanding and being very clear of what's going on, and that's why I really don't think that it could be entertained too, because it's not realistic. And I think that, as Sean, to the point she was making, if you understand something, if you are educated about it, then you can make certain decisions. If I only provide you with half of a story, and then you say, well, oh no, the person was wrong, or oh no, the person was right, you only have half of the story. How are you making a decision? And a lot of kids stumble onto porn that, whether it's like you're seeing it with some friends, you're seeing it at school, they'll come up on the internet, whatever the case may be, and they believe, and that's not what it is. It's not realistic. And then they're making all these decisions that have these imposed self-awareness issues and imposed self-esteem issues on something that's not even real. So I think that there's a big part of it outside of the censor and all that. There's a big part that we need to be educating people into understanding that it's an industry that makes money on creating content that is entertaining. It's not real.
Yeah, for me, I do agree holistically with what you guys would have said. What I would like to see porn do is to add the humanness, if possible, to persons within the porn industry, because we see them as lesser beings. Okay, no, don't let me say we, because then that would be a generalized statement. It can be said that persons within the porn industry can be viewed as not humans, like persons who have it bad, they're uneducated, that's all they can afford to do. I would love to see like the human empathy extended to those people, and not necessarily see it as something degrading, but just apply the human aspect to it. These are human beings who have made a conscious decision, because I don't think that persons would consent to have their image out there in such activities. I mean, you have to consent to these things. It's not rape, and I'm not linking it to rape. But I would just love to see the human aspect, the kindness, if possible, to be extended to persons with these things and understanding for them. You may not necessarily have to agree, but you can disagree. You can agree to disagree with a person's thing. I mean, the FBI agents who have to commit murder. They're soldiers who have to go and fight war and kill other people who's a father, an uncle, in other countries, and so on and so forth. So, what is the base difference? Like,
We see that
I
as
mean,
honorable, right? We see that as honorable.
honorable.
Negativity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, like, our perception of pornography becomes skewed because we don't apply the human aspect is not applicable to these persons within this particular industry, this particular entertainment industry. And that to me is disheartening because I'm a social person and I don't like to judge people. Because I was having a discussion with a Barbados Workers Union course. I mean, there are some parts in our lives that we don't want persons to know and we don't ever want to speak about, we don't ever want to read out loud. But that does not make us any less kind or any less generous or any less human. So, like, I would just love to see that. I mean, it doesn't have to be censored, but in the sense that sex is a human thing, it's a biological thing, whether between man and woman, man and man, woman and woman, whatever. But be kind. You may not have to agree with it, but be kind.
Yeah, we
You
lack a
know?
lot of empathy just across the board, and I think that
Yeah,
empathy would make a lot of things so much better.
yeah, definitely, for sure. And I mean, I don't know. Again, everybody will have something different because of, okay, a person who is more religious than we are. I mean, we are religious persons, but we are not indoctrined, right? So obviously views will vary, and we will respect those views. But the aim of my podcast is not necessarily to come have a drink with my friends and talk about something, but it's to start those conversations that a lot of persons are afraid of having, you know. And I would really like to hear what you guys think or thought about what we would have said and what you guys think about the whole notion of censoring porn, if it objectifies women, teaching tool. I mean, we've said so many things, here. I don't even know how long we've been recording, but it seems like we've. I mean, there's so much more we can talk about, but it seems like we've hit some really big stuff here today. Um, so you can let us know what you guys thought, your comments, your questions. I will be creating a discussion room on my Facebook, and I will let you guys know where to find. So that's the Carrie Productions on Facebook, and you can go when I post the podcast, and you can go and talk about what you guys thought about the whole notion of pornography and stuff like that, and give us pushback on what we would have said, and we will respond, and we will respect each other's
For sure.
opinions and stuff like that, and you're free to follow us at our IGs. Mine is Demar_246. What's funny? I feel I'm drunk because my head is feeling lightheaded and I cannot remember my Twitter handle, so I'm just gonna put that in the description below. Shit really fucking happens. So you guys can let us know where to find you on social media.
Okay, so you can find our collective Instagram and YouTube channel at Paula X Chantal. That's PaulaXChantal.
Yeah.
And you can find Paula's personal page at Carib Queen P. And you can find my personal Instagram, Mendez Chantal. And then our business pages would be Island Sunday and then Cleansing the Natties.
But these are all tagged on our Paula X Chantal Instagram page. So once you head there, you can find all of our
everything. Yeah. And a link to our latest video as well.
Yes.
What is in the works for PXC? Because I know that's what you guys refer to yourself. They're PXC in the building. What is in the works before we wrap up? What is in the works? What can we look forward to from PXC?
Some things already for what we want to do in 2022. We don't want to reveal too much, but there's a lot of new, exciting always Beijing centered content coming, lots of blogs, some other types of new content as well, and long and short form content. So you can check our Instagram, our YouTube, and it's going to be a new PXC is coming.
Yeah.
Wow, I am looking forward to it. Oh, because in the release of this podcast, it will be around Christmas time. So we want to wish everyone season's greetings.
Yes.
Season's greetings to you, PXC.
Thank
Thank
you.
Um,
Thank you as
you know,
well.
thank you, thank you. Anything y'all like about the season, Christmas season? Anything y'all look forward to during this time?
I look forward to spending time with my family.
I just like that
As a,
people are
as a person who don't spend time with your family?
I do, but like Christmas has a special place for us personally, for my family, Christmas, because like we all travel and we're all in multiple places in the world at different times. I even now like still have family members. So at Christmas we always come together.
I just like that people are
Okay.
nicer at Christmas.
That is true.
Like it's just a different atmosphere. I wish it could be all year round. Honestly, I wish people would travel with this fuzzy,
Yeah.
warm, nice, do good feeling all year round. But it's really nice to have it at Christmas time, and that's really what I like. People just seem to be nicer. Maybe it is the sit that happens.
Because
You drink a lot.
Sorrow.
You drink a lot more during Christmas, but I just like that people tend to be friendlier and a lot more loving and giving during Christmas. So I mean, if I can only
Wow.
do that at Christmas,
Take
I'll
it.
take it. I'll take it at Christmas. So that's what I really like about Christmas. And as Paula says, family just seems to come a lot
Yeah.
closer at Christmas as well. And I know that's a sore spot for some people that don't have family.
Yeah,
You can choose your
Your
family.
family. Family is not blood.
definitely.
This is my family.
Definitely, because I see you guys as like my sisters. Because as I said, we all came together as persons in the academic arena, and it seems like I've known Paula for so long. I mean, as I said, I've met Chantal from BCC, but we are a family. We may not talk every day, but I see you guys as my sisters, as my family.
There's
You know,
always that
family has a
Yeah.
always.
yeah. So guys, thanks for coming in and listening, and thank you guys for being here, PXC, for being my co-host. Y'all did a fantastic job, by the way.
Thank you.
Very fantastic job. It was a pleasure, and I say this with a generous undertone, losing to you guys.
We beat you in the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, they beat me. They are my first co-host, and I have lost to PXC. Fate happens.
Yeah.
It was rigged. We spoke about we spoke about things being fake. This was fake, guys. This was scripted.
Ah.
I was to lose. I was to lose.
Hold doors.
It was, and I'm also going to blame it on the alcohol, which we drank. I drank a Lamos Paro.
Yes.
Alcohol, baby, yeah.
We just
So-
want to thank you very much.
Oh.
This was really a new experience for us, and
Ah.
love to talk. I love to talk. That has not changed with me. So really, thank you for thinking of
Yeah.
us. Thank you for thinking of this topic as well. I think that this is something
Mhm.
that's so important
It's
for people to
dynamic.
speak about.
and
It's
it needs to be
important
at
for
the
Yeah.
speak about.
forefront, yeah.
Just what you said, people say don't talk about certain things, and that's kind of what puts us in the situation where we are, by not
Yeah.
speaking about things. So kudos to you, because this is something that's very controversial that people would not want to touch,
Very.
right? And a lot of people might get any comments and be upset about things that we said, but it's only through this dialogue that we can get somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kudos to you for doing this. Thank you so much, and I really hope that this episode does very well for you. Because
Ah, thank you. Thank you for being part of the success story. So in wrapping up, can we say, because I want to release around Christmas time, so like I'm going to be editing shortly. So
okay,
as soon as we finish, I'm going to start editing. So as we dismiss, very, and we've become republic. Can we sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas"
I don't
together?
know what the
Let me
word.
put on my shades. We're just going to sing 2 or 3 lines of "We wish you a Merry Christmas." I mean, like,
Where we at?
sorry. I had to
Alright,
the vocals.
tickle the throat.
Right.
La 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 la. C minor, garçon. Do you want me guys to lead us
Yeah.
off? You want me to
Please,
begin and
please.
okay?
Take the
Please
lead.
leave.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna get my bad gal Fenty on because she's Barbadian and we love her so much, and I'm a Navy and I love her, and so I'm getting ready to wow you guys vocally.
Okay. We got
I'm drunk. I'm drunk by the way. This is Lamor's Power and this is I feel like Mariah Carey. So I'm going to be singing with you with PXC. We wish you a Merry Christmas. This is brought to you by Demar and PXC. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year. Sing with me. We wish you a Merry Christmas.
We
wish you
We
a Merry
wish you a Merry
We wish
Christmas.
you a
We
Merry
wish you a Merry
and a
Christmas
happy
and a Happy New Year.
That was awesome. We were
Like,
And if we sung bad, it was the alcohol.
It's true. Always.
Guys, thank you guys so much. Oh my god, I love you. I love you guys. If you love the episode, comment, subscribe, download, share, follow us because more and more and more will becoming be safe and continue to look for great things from PXC and from your boy Demar. It was a pleasure
Thank you.
having you guys. It was a pleasure for you guys to actually sit and listen to our podcast and to comment, share, and subscribe and do what you have to do to help us, get us out there and stuff like that. So hats off to you. Always keep safe. Enjoy the Christmas season and the Christmas spirits and so on and so forth. Continue to be safe. Continue to mask up and protect yourself against COVID-19 and so on and so forth. And always, always, always sit. Sit before you talk. Because sit does really happen.
It does.
Sit before you talk. So to my co-hosts, I love you guys, and to my audience, to my listeners, to my fans, to those who support me on my journey, you guys, thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure. Your boy, Demar with PXC in the building. And that's a wrap.
Bye.
Bye.